Alright guys, Lonksy here again with another build guide, and today I'll be giving you some advice, guidance and tips on how to create, in my opinion, a very fun and punchy build which gives the game a nice change of pace in comparison to my previous crit build. I've named this one the Zoo Engineer as it revolves around summoning turrets and in some instances pets. Now as you can see in the background footage, this build is very versatile. It works against most bosses and deals with high volumes of trash really well. I've managed to complete Nightmare difficulty using this build and playstyle with some slight variations here and there, but all in all it's worked really smoothly. This build relies heavily on getting mod power quickly, so the Galenic Charm for your next slot is an absolute must here. Any rapid fire weapon also works brilliantly, and I've primarily been using the beam rifle as it ticks very quickly to restore that mod power, but the assault rifle or the Chicago typewriter are also feasible choices here. Okay, so let's get into the build. Okay, so this build has a very simple premise. You want a turret to be on the fast firing weapon you choose, as it will allow you to get as many turrets as possible at the same time. The damage the turrets do also counts towards the mod power charge, so once you have 3 or 4 up, this really starts to ramp up the damage quickly. An area of the game which this really shines is the portal realm on the final boss. It's very easy to get up to 15 stacks with this setup. There are 2 choices here for the second mod. You can either go with the pet summon, or you can use Song of Swords. I switch between the two quite a bit. Song of Swords increases the damage your turrets do by 30% and becomes very noticeable when you have 4 or more up, but when you have lots of pets up, that gives you a lot more crowd control, so it's kind of a trade-off for either. I use the Hunting Pistol as my secondary simply because I enjoy using it, and in conjunction with the Slayer set and its recent buff, it's hard to give up that flat 35% damage increase to each shot. The beauty of this build is that you still do an absolute mountain of damage using your weapons, and you don't have to rely slowly on the turrets and pets. They merely supplement and add more damage. Devouring Loop is the only essential ring in my opinion. The other slot is open to experimentation. I have found the crit chance from Braided Thorns is really nice, especially when using some of the pieces of the Radiant set and the beam rifle. Ring of Balance also provides a nice flat 10% range damage increase, which is also great. Galenic Charm, as I mentioned in the introduction, is absolutely essential to this build, as it increases mod generation by 300% and is the key to getting that ramp up speed increased as much as possible. Melee weapon is totally your choice. Okay guys, so onto the traits. Now, as this game's been out quite a while now, I think people are starting to get their head around what traits work, what traits don't work so well. So I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail on these. I'm just going to fly through each one explaining why you get points in it. I'll leave it up to you which order to get them in, but I think it's quite self-explanatory and straightforward. I just pushed all the damage ones first, and now that I've been doing Nightmare, I've had to start pushing the defensive ones, but I'll talk about that as we go through them. So, first of all, we've got Vigor, very obvious one, plus 50 health. Stops you getting one-shotted, although in Nightmare that is quite a regular occurrence. If you haven't tried it already, I recommend it, it's great fun. Endurance, plus 50 stamina, so that just makes sure that we can roll more and get out of the way of attacks, very self-explanatory. Mother's Blessing, this is essential for Nightmare survivability, range damage reduction plus 20%. Elder Knowledge, experience point bonus, that just means you're going to get your traits more. Spirit, this one's really important because it increases our mod power generation, which is kind of the bread and butter of this build. That means in conjunction with Galenic Charm, that's 350% increased mod power generation, which is very nice indeed. Keeper's Blessing, so our elemental resistance is up by 20%, that's very helpful. World Walker, another really useful one in Nightmare, just gives you that little bit more ability to roll and get out of the way of attacks. Executioner, plus 20% crit chance bonus, very self-explanatory, along with the Kingslayer trait, which is plus 50% crit hit damage. I'm just chipping away at Triage because it gives more health regen effectiveness. Guardian's Blessing, increased melee damage reduction, a flat 20% again, also very helpful. Handling, so gun spread and recoil, really useful for weapons like the AR, like the Chicago typewriter and that kind of stuff. Quick Hands, much faster reload speed, which is essential. Scavenger, so just scrap boost, giving you more money. I've run into that problem a few times, wiping on bosses constantly, particularly the final boss, needing those blood worts to make your life easier and the ammo packs to make your life easier does start to rack up quite a big cost, so I do recommend getting a scrap boost scavenger trait when you can. And Exploiter, that's weak spot damage bonus plus 25%. I think you need to get 1,500 or 150, sorry, weak spot kills to get this. So if you get 150 weak spot kills, this will unlock as a trait. Catalyst, which they have actually just nerfed recently, they've lowered it by 5%, so it just increases the proc chance. That works in conjunction with your Devouring Loop Ring. It increases the chance of that proccing, so very, very important to get that. Mind's Eye, so that's range damage bonus plus 25%, which is very, very nice. And then Trigger Happy, which is a flat plus 20% fire rate as well. Again, a very useful trait to have. Okay guys, that just about wraps up this video. I've been really taken aback by the positivity and support my first video received, so thank you to you all for being so encouraging. I try and answer every comment I get, so if you have any questions or suggestions, then please do sound off in the comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. The links to my Mixer stream and social media are also in the description. So until then guys, I'll see you in the next one.